Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of A Palette for Love Live. Today I'm going to be making a shrimp and pork wonton soup. It's one of my most favorite things to cook and to eat. I haven't made it in a while, so I'm happy to make it tonight. And we'll also be talking about how to maintain changes. For the last 2 weeks, I've been talking to you about the power of words and how to change the negative thought patterns you have. So today we'll be talking about how to continue those changes over the course of time. In my food processor, I have half a pound of raw shrimp, half a pound of pork, some frozen mushrooms, green onions, garlic, ginger. I threw in some sesame oil and a little salt and pepper. So for the wonton wrappers, I have these square ones that I bought from the supermarket, and I'm going to use, I've already used, this biscuit cutter to make some round wontons as well. I'll be filling both, and after I'm done with the video, I'll probably just use all the square ones and freeze the leftover dumplings for another time. I have the filling in the wonton wrapper, and I have a little bit of this beaten egg that I'm going to just put around the edges, and then I'll fold it up. So the biggest tip to maintaining changes is to first find something that you feel is realistic and manageable. Of course, we want to have these major changes in our lives. We want them to happen tomorrow. But realistically, you have to think about what you can do and manage to keep doing over time. One of the ways you can do this is to write things down. Keeping a journal of accountability can really help you focus on what is working, what isn't working, how often you're able to implement the changes that you wish to keep doing in your life. And then you can also come up with a reward system for yourself that will keep you engaged and motivated. I have all the dumplings made here. I only made about 10. The round wrappers weren't working because they were too small, and leaving them here for the video dried them out a little bit. So I just used the square ones, folded them into a triangle, and then brought the corners together to make this little purse hat shape. I'm now going to start on the broth. I put a little bit of ghee or clarified butter in the pan. As far as dumplings go, a good way to know how the mixture tastes is to make it into a little patty and cook that so you can taste it and know what the finished version will taste like. I didn't do that for this one because I trust my sense of smell and my eyeball measuring maybe a little bit too much, but we'll see what happens. So into the ghee, I put some garlic, and I'm also going to put in some yellow onion as well. The last thing I'll put in is a little bit of this lobster base. I normally use this for making lobster bisque, but since this is a seafood-based dumpling, I think this will go well in it. So this is going to cook down until the onions and garlic get softer. And I want to cook some of the base out so that it's not as concentrated as it is when it first comes out of the jar. To this, I'm going to pour in my homemade shrimp stock. Whenever I cook shrimp, I save the shells and then I make a stock out of them to use for things like this. Okay. Pouring in the shrimp stock. I have it in this Ziploc bag here. I think this was actually shrimp shells and some lobster as well. I'm also going to add some chicken broth because there wasn't enough seafood stock for the soup, but also just to enrich in the flavor. And that chicken broth came out of the box because I ran out of my homemade chicken broth. Another good way to keep yourself accountable is to have an accountability partner. That person can be a friend, a loved one, but that person can also be a therapist. You can talk to your therapist about wanting their help in keeping you on track with your changes that you're supposed to be working on outside of session. So they may be able to come up with different tools, different worksheets or workbooks that can help you as well. Something I've done in the past is on the wall that I see the minute that I sit up in bed, I used to have words and lists of things there that I want to remember for the day. That's a really good way to set your intentions and to remind yourself of where you want to be and the things that you're working on. I added some powdered seasoning to this as well. I'm just going to let it boil a little bit longer before I put in the dumplings to cook in the soup. The last tip I have regarding maintaining changes is to give yourself a break. To know that slip-ups and setbacks are part of the process, and to focus on what you're supposed to be doing right instead of the times when you get it wrong. The times when you get it wrong, however, are also a really good source of information of, again, what's not working and what needs to be adjusted. So maybe the notes on your wall don't work for you. Maybe the post-its on the mirror when in your bathroom don't work either. But the point is to remain focused on your why, to remain focused on what your goal is and what your intentions are in order to have a really good shot at keeping those changes going, while also keeping in mind that you're human and you're going to make mistakes, but that's also okay. So I have all of my dumplings in the pot. This is a really good base recipe that you can always adjust and make into your own. You can throw in some lime and lemongrass and cilantro and make it more of a Thai soup. I may throw in some ramen noodles that I have in the freezer because it stretches the dish and gives you a little heartier of a soup than just the broth. I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank everybody that has voted for my panel with Huffington Post for next year's South by Southwest Festival. If you haven't been able to vote yet, the voting closes next Friday on the 23rd. So feel free to click the link in my bio and vote up for. Again, don't forget to inbox me if you have any suggestions about things you want to see me make or topics that you want to see me talk about. The soup is almost ready, and I'm going to plate it up, and let you see what it looks like. There is the pork and shrimp and mushroom wonton soup. I threw in some chili oil, red pepper flakes, and green onion. Here's the finished version of the shrimp, mushroom, and pork wonton soup. I added some chili oil, red pepper flakes, and green onion. Thanks for watching this week's episode of A Palette for Love Live. Tune in again for another recipe and another mental health discussion. Thank you. Bye.